with us at all.
I wonder how many of the Super 2 conferences that aren't behemoths are,
There's only 2 Super 2 conferences.
The teams.
Okay.
Teams that aren't behemoths like Ohio State or Bama or, some of those. Like, I'm sure they sit around and go, thank God we are where we are. But if you ask them, what do you think your future is if television decides, like, you know what, Northwestern doesn't bring a lot of value to this.
Oh, this is the Vanderbilt talk we're having here.
Yeah. So, but like that's they're good now.
That will be the test for a conference in the SEC that has always looked at their conference the way the NFL looks, and everybody has to be our strongest link.
Yeah.
Our weakest link has, that will be tested.
I think that they've programmed it now, though, to where they can avoid that because every game's going to have a good rating. Because how often are Vandy and like the other lowest level, perhaps ratings getter? And I don't know, Vandy might not be there. I'm just, throwing them out there as far as like, if we're talking brands, they're the last one you're going to mention in the SEC.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much Vandy, South Carolina brings in eyeballs, but how often are you going to get that? Because of the teams that are laid out now, almost every game is going to have Oklahoma or Texas or Auburn or Bama or Georgia or Florida or LSU or Tennessee look over the Big Ten, it's not quite that way. But now that you've got USC in there, there's at least one more, not so much UCLA, because let's face it, like that's the LA market, but it's, you know what I mean.
They've been mediocre there.
There's going to be more of a chance of getting Indiana versus, who would be another team like Northwestern versus, how often that could probably happen in the SEC. But it's not going to happen as often. Like, there's not going to be a lot of just bottom of the barrel games. Every game, because there's so many teams now in those 2 conferences, is going to have at least one program that's probably bringing in a couple million at the very least. So I think that was strategic, and I think it's smart. And lay out the SEC schedule however you want to, but Arkansas is going to play Texas, and then Arkansas is going to play Oklahoma, and then Arkansas is going to play Tennessee, and then they're going to play A&M. So where are the bad ratings going to come from?
Yeah.
And we know with those fan bases that no matter how bad you are, they're going to cling on. I don't know if that's so much the case in other parts of the country as it is in the SEC. So there's some genius there.
Are they? Yeah. They'll like the ratings, they like their money. But, Craig, you made this point a bunch of times. Are they going to like the fact that it's going to be even harder for them to win? Like South Carolina.
Well, the Vanderbilt coach today, Paul and Craig, was saying that we're going to be a powerful football. They're 2-10, and I hate it for them because it's a great school. Is it going to be easier for them now?
Good. Well, look, good luck. And I hope he's right, because that would mean that the networks are wrong, and there is parity in college football that can happen, and they're not just trying to whittle it down to what matters. And Vanderbilt's are where they are, but if it was down to just drafting people on program success, it wouldn't be that way. But if you're South Carolina and you've never won the SEC, and then you've got all these other teams joining.
Well, there's 2.
You're never, ever going to win it now. You maybe feel like as a fan.
Well,
I think that, you're wiping your tears like the meme of wiping your tears like $100 bills. That's basically what's going to happen. Everybody wants to believe that they have a chance, including Vandy and South Carolina, but there is also being realistic and knowing that, like, hey, you weren't getting past Bama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, Tennessee, et cetera, to begin with. Yes, it's going to make it harder having now Oklahoma and Texas, but what's the difference between being 12th and being 14th? You know what I mean? Or 14th versus being 15th. I see your point there. I do wonder for those, but for those who haven't really experienced much success, but if there's suddenly let's say a Tennessee was suddenly, and they've been down, but down, and that became a recurring issue, then maybe a program who's used to winning at a high level would get sick of that, but that's going to have to happen. We're going to have to see a team really struggle for years and not win nearly as many games as they would like, to the point where that money is outweighed by unhappiness on the field.
Well, Nebraska's dealing with that.
Exactly, but they're not going anywhere,
they're not
are
going
they?
anywhere
Exactly
because
right.
that check is big.
Exactly.
From the 573, Smokey.